Why are the best mixers in the world so good? I think it's because of this. Their average decision that they make on every mix is at such a high level. I mean, not their best mix decision. Every time they're faced with a decision, it's not the best one they could have made. It's not the worst one they could have made. Most of the time, as human beings, we operate in the middle. We're not always at our peak, and we're not always at the worst possible decision. It's somewhere in the middle. So the only way you can be consistent is if your average is very, very high. That's the way you can be consistent and a great mixer. Now, what I mean by this is, let's say specifically you're dealing with mixing drums. There could be a number of things you would do to try to improve your drum sound. If you were listening to it and you said to yourself, the cymbals take over the snare a little bit here. How should I fix that? This is one example, but you could talk about this with anything: vocals, guitar, bass. Everything in mixing is a compromise. Everything. So let's talk drums. Let's say you're saying the cymbals take over. What could I do? Maybe you could try a gate. That gate doesn't work, try this gate. This gate doesn't work, all right, let's try an intelligent gate, like Black Salt Audio Silencer or something. Let's try that. Does that work? That don't work. Okay. Let's try a multiband gate. That work? That don't work. Okay. Maybe it's something's over-compressed, and as a result, it's bringing up the cymbals too much. So you look at what you got, you lower the compression here and there. It's okay, but it takes away from your sound, and you had a good drum sound you like, so that doesn't work. Then you figure, maybe I'll just roll off some high end. So you do low pass filters. Does that work? That doesn't work. You try the high band on some EQs. Does that work? That doesn't work. You're losing too much. Then you say, maybe I'll try a sample. You blend a sample in with it because the sample has no cymbals on it. So it's a good idea. You try that, but then you say, I'm losing the realness of the drums because the sample is now fake everywhere. So let me try to make that sound more real. So you go through and you use like a randomizer tool, like Mark Rubel style, and you put it, for volume, you randomize. Doesn't really help. Compression doesn't help. EQ doesn't help. You randomize all these things, doesn't help. So you say, I'm going to automate this sample sound only in the parts we're losing the snare, but you try to match it with your snare. It doesn't really line up perfect, so now when it disappears, it sounds weird and you don't like it. This is just one example, and I'm sure we could name so many other things you could do that might solve this problem. But what I'm trying to get across is, once you've tried all this, wherever you wind up at the last thing you try, compare that to the first thing. And I venture to say you should do this every step of the way. Every time you have an idea, compare it to the first thing, your first instinct, whatever that was, before you tried to then come up with the thing that's going to make where your instinct was better. So before you started going down this path, look at your instinct on where it was at, and everything you've done and tried, you're comparing to that the whole way. And then what I'm trying to tell you is, after enough mixes, I think you're going to realize that your instinct is more often than not correct. And as you get better, you're going to up your average on how often your instinct is the right way to go. And this will give you confidence. That will probably be the only thing that gives you confidence, because that's how you know the mix is done. When you've gone through all these ideas that you can come up with of how to solve an issue you may be having, and every time your first instinct's better, I think you're going to realize there's no point to keep messing with this. You're going to realize that I've made it worse so many times now. I'm pretty sure it was as good as it was going to get. That right there will start to just smack you in the face. And then you'll realize, my instinct's right. I'm going to go with my instinct. And when you do, you'll get done with songs quicker. And when you get done quicker, you'll get better, because you'll be able to do more. It's the only way to get better at mixing. You have to do more songs. Doing one song 100 times is not going to make you better. All you could do is exhaust your ideas. Prove to yourself what is right. And even if it's not your instinct, maybe it's your second idea. Maybe it's your third. Going down this path will show you what will happen when you try these different things. And over time, you'll be able to narrow down what you want to do, because you've done all these things so many times that you know more likely what will work in any given situation on any song you're working on because of what you've tried in the past and the results and what you would need to do in this case to make it work. That's why these guys like TLA, CLA, Serban, Andrew Sheps, I could name a ton of mixers, Brendan O'Brien, one of my favorites. That's why they get done with mixes so quickly, because they trust their instincts. And even if they try other things throughout the course of whatever, it's not as many things as the person who doesn't trust their instincts would have to try. It's not as many. So because of that, they're always moving forward, and they're never getting bogged down by they can't make this whatever, because they know whatever they did on their first try is probably the way to go, or second or third, but it's the early stages. See, in my opinion, the problem with people who really don't know what they're doing is they have too many choices. It's not they have no choices. It's that they could turn every knob because they don't know what any of them do. They could turn them all. Maybe, I don't know what to turn. Should I turn this one? Should I turn this one? Let's turn this. Let's put this plug-in on. Maybe this would help. They've got every choice, which is why they can never get done. Whereas the people who have gone through the process of realizing that there's only a limited amount of what we could do with this, and maybe we could keep coming up with ideas, but it's not going to make it better. The ones that have done that and realize it's not about adding another plugin and another plugin, and it's not about that. It's probably about removing what I put on, start over, see if that's the answer. That's the trick, is that you have to do enough to realize what's not an option so that you can actually work. Because when everything's an option, it's impossible to mix. And that's the truth. So if I saved anybody any time at all, I'm hoping that you guys will take your instincts and put some value on them so that you can get through this song and move on to the next one. And I'm not saying just do that willy-nilly. I'm saying try all your ideas. And that's how you'll prove to yourself your instinct was right. You got to try all your ideas. And remember, A and B it with the first one. A and B it with your instinct. You could A and B all of them. A, B, C, D, E. Just try everything. See what's better after you've done all these ideas. Like print 30, 40, 50 seconds of whatever idea you come up with, and then see if you like that. And what I'm telling you is, more often than not, the instinct is going to win. It's going to win because there's something about our innate instincts when we're working on music, especially as you've done more and more, that usually is the thing that works. It's not usually the 12th thing we've tried, in my experience. Now, you guys may look at it different. Somebody may have other ideas, but I'm telling you, if you're beating up the same song 100 times, ain't the way to go. It ain't the way to go. The way to go is what I said. Make a list of what you want to try it, compare enough of a section of the song so you can actually judge, throughout a decent passage, what is better, not just one little spot, because it could be great in one spot and terrible the rest of the time, and it might not be something you could just punch in and out and have it work. So you do that, and then you will actually say to yourself, man, I can't make this any better, so it's done. And then you'll move on. And then in the next song and the next one, you keep getting better. Your instincts will improve over time. Your average will improve. And that's how you'll become great. Because it doesn't matter on this song if you get the dB perfect and the compression exactly set with the perfect attack and the perfect release. It's not relevant on this song if you can't repeat it. Because that doesn't matter. If it's not repeatable, you're not hireable. You're not able to deliver great things. If it is repeatable, you are, and the way to get there is by getting done, moving to the next one, improving your instincts throughout the entire time. Get your average up. And this is how you do it. Your average has got to be great. It's not about your best mix decision ever. It's not about the perfect anything. It's about the average. So what I want everyone to do is do your best to trust yourself on your next mix. And if you have to prove it to yourself by trying things, then do it. That's the best, absolute best way to do it. That's how I had to prove to myself that my instincts are great. And working on the song I did last, I used new speakers in a new room, and I trusted my instincts. It took me about 3 to 4 hours to mix the song. I didn't check it in the car. I didn't check it on my phone. I didn't check it on a Bluetooth speaker. I'm not recommending doing all that. I'm just saying I trusted my instincts. And it took me a long time to get to a point where I can. And maybe it has something to do with the confidence or the whatever on the new room and how it sounds so much better than my old room. Maybe that's what it is. But I definitely had faith in my instincts. And was it the best mix I ever made? Probably not. But I know I'm improving by doing that. Just the act of doing that, 3 to 4 hours and be done, I know I'm improving. And that's all we really want. Every great mixer out there is learning all the time from everyone. They're getting new ideas from everyone. They're picking up everything they can. Nobody's just always doing the same thing and they never learn anything. They're always learning. So that's where you'll get the ideas for what to try. And then as you do, you'll realize what will work more often than not without even needing to try it. But that's the game. That's the game we're playing. There's always somebody with another idea. And speaking of that, I want to hear yours. If you guys have ideas on anything I just talked about, even about drums, or just what you think about what I'm explaining right now, about maybe how you improved, or something to this effect, I'd love to hear about it. Throw it in the comments. If you dug it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. This is Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. I hope I saved you some time. You guys got this. Take it easy.